The partnership between Tim Walz and Kamala Harris has sparked controversy, fueled by accusations of media bias and differing narratives. This collaboration has been a focal point in the media, with some outlets portraying it as a strategic alliance aimed at addressing systemic issues, while others criticize it as a politically motivated move that overlooks critical concerns. The Minnesota Freedom Fund, a nonprofit providing bail assistance, has been at the center of this debate. Established to help those who cannot afford bail, the organization aims to address the inequities in the criminal justice system. However, its role has been scrutinized, especially in the context of high-profile cases and the broader implications of its work. Critics, including Vance, accuse Harris of enabling the release of individuals accused of violent crimes. They argue that the fund's support for bail reform has inadvertently led to the release of dangerous individuals, thereby compromising public safety. This criticism has been a significant point of contention in political debates and media discussions. The MFF gained national attention during the protests following George Floyd's death. The fund's efforts to bail out protesters were seen by many as a necessary step in supporting the movement for racial justice. However, this also brought the organization under intense scrutiny, with opponents questioning the broader impact of its actions. Supporters praised the MFF's work in ensuring the release of peaceful protesters, highlighting the importance of protecting the rights of individuals to demonstrate without fear of unjust detention. They argue that the fund plays a crucial role in upholding civil liberties and addressing systemic injustices within the legal system, while critics argued it contributed to lawlessness and public safety risks. They claimed that the release of individuals, some of whom were involved in violent activities, exacerbated tensions and led to further unrest. This perspective has fueled ongoing debates about the balance between civil rights and public safety. The media ignored Harris's 2020 tweet about donations to the fund. This omission has been pointed out by her critics as an example of media bias, suggesting that the coverage of her actions has been selectively favorable. The tweet, which encouraged donations to the MFF, has been a recurring topic in discussions about her political stance and actions. The controversy resurfaced when Harris selected Walz as her running mate in the 2024 election. This decision reignited debates about their past actions and the implications for their potential administration. Supporters view the partnership as a strong, progressive ticket, while detractors see it as a problematic alliance that could undermine public trust. Critics pointed to Walz's handling of the protests, particularly his decision to activate the National Guard. They argue that this move was heavy-handed and escalated tensions rather than calming the situation. This aspect of his leadership has been a focal point in evaluating his suitability as a vice presidential candidate. They argued that Harris's decision to partner with Walz demonstrated a disregard for public safety. This partnership has been framed by opponents as indicative of a broader trend of prioritizing political alliances over substantive policy solutions. The ongoing debate highlights the complexities and challenges of navigating public perception and political strategy in contemporary American politics. Vance, a Republican commentator and author of Hillbilly Elegy, emerged as a vocal critic of both Harris and Walz. Known for his sharp critiques of the Democratic Party and focus on working-class issues, Vance accused Harris of hypocrisy for supporting the MFF while advocating for criminal justice reform. Her actions demonstrate a disconnect from the realities of crime and its impact on communities. Vance also criticized Walz for failing to protect his constituents during the Floyd protests. He pointed to the widespread property damage and violence as evidence of Walz's alleged incompetence. The criticisms resonated with conservatives who viewed the protests as a symptom of a broader societal breakdown and a failure of democratic leadership. The accusations of media bias surrounding the Harris-Walz partnership and the MFF controversy have sparked a heated debate across the nation. Many people are questioning the integrity and impartiality of the media, wondering if the coverage is truly balanced or if it leans towards a particular political agenda. These concerns raise important questions about the role of media in a democratic society. The media is often seen as the fourth pillar of democracy, responsible for holding those in power accountable and providing the public with unbiased information. However, when accusations of bias arise, it can undermine public trust and create a sense of division. Critics argued that the lack of critical coverage of Harris's support for the MFF and Walz's handling of the Floyd protests demonstrated a clear bias in favor of the Democratic Party. They believe that the media's failure to scrutinize these actions as rigorously as they would have if they were carried out by Republicans is indicative of a double standard. They pointed to the fact that similar actions by Republicans would likely have garnered far more scrutiny and condemnation from the media. This perceived disparity in coverage has led to accusations that the media is not fulfilling its duty to provide fair and balanced reporting. Supporters of Harris and Walz countered that the accusations of media bias were unfounded and politically motivated. They argue that the media is simply doing its job by reporting on events as they happen, without any intentional bias. They believe that the criticisms are a tactic used by political opponents to discredit the media and shift the focus away from the issues at hand. They argued that the media was simply covering the news in a fair and impartial manner, and that any perceived bias was in the eye of the beholder. They also point out that the media landscape is diverse, with numerous outlets providing different perspectives, which helps to ensure that a variety of viewpoints are represented. They also pointed out that conservative media outlets had given ample coverage to the criticisms of Harris and Walz, ensuring that both sides of the story were being told. This, they argue, is evidence that the media ecosystem as a whole is functioning as it should, with different outlets balancing each other out and providing the public with a comprehensive view of the issues. Ultimately, the debate over media bias is a reflection of the broader political polarization in society. As people increasingly consume news from sources that align with their own beliefs, it becomes more challenging to find common ground. The role of the media in bridging this divide and fostering informed public discourse remains a critical issue for the health of democracy. The controversy surrounding Harris, Walz, and the MFF had significant political implications. The media coverage was relentless, with every news outlet dissecting the issue from multiple angles. The public was inundated with opinions and analyses, making it a hot topic in households across the nation. Republicans seized on the issue as a way to attack Harris's record. They launched a series of campaign ads and speeches aimed at highlighting what they saw as her flawed judgment and portray her as out of touch with the concerns of everyday Americans. At town hall meetings, Republican politicians emphasized the disconnect between Harris's actions and the needs of their constituents. They argued that her support for the MFF demonstrated a willingness to prioritize the rights of criminals over the safety of law-abiding citizens. This narrative was pushed hard, with numerous examples cited to back up their claims. The issue also became a flashpoint in the debate over criminal justice reform. It sparked heated discussions on social media and in public forums, with people passionately defending their positions. Conservatives argued that Harris's support for the MFF proved that Democrats were soft on crime. They used this argument to rally their base, emphasizing the need for stricter law enforcement policies, and more interested in protecting criminals than victims. This sentiment was echoed in aggressive political rallies where speakers riled up crowds with fiery rhetoric. They pointed to the increase in violent crime in some cities as evidence that progressive criminal justice policies were failing. News reports frequently highlighted these crime statistics, adding fuel to the fire. Democrats, meanwhile, defended Harris's record and her commitment to criminal justice reform. They argued that her actions were in line with a broader vision of a fairer and more equitable justice system. They argued that the MFF was a valuable organization that provided much-needed assistance to those who could not afford bail. This support was crucial for ensuring that the justice system did not disproportionately impact the poor. They also pointed out that the vast majority of those bailed out by the MFF were not accused of violent crimes. This was a key point in their defense, aiming to dispel the notion that the MFF was endangering public safety, and that the organization had strict criteria for determining who was eligible for assistance. These criteria were designed to ensure that only those who posed no threat to the community received help, thereby maintaining a balance between justice and safety. The debate over the MFF and Harris's involvement highlighted the deep divisions in American society. It was a microcosm of the larger battle over the direction of the country's criminal justice system. Political analysts weighed in, offering various perspectives on the issue. Some saw it as a necessary step towards reform, while others viewed it as a dangerous precedent. The controversy also spurred grassroots movements on both sides, with community groups organizing to either support or oppose the MFF. These movements added another layer of complexity to the already contentious debate. Social media became a battleground, with hashtags and viral posts amplifying the voices of both supporters and detractors. The digital landscape was flooded with opinions, making it difficult for the average person to discern the truth. As the controversy continued to unfold, it became clear that this was not just a political issue, but a deeply personal one for many Americans. It touched on fundamental questions about justice, safety, and the role of government in society. In the end, the political fallout from the Harris and MFF controversy served as a stark reminder of the complexities and challenges inherent in criminal justice reform. It underscored the need for thoughtful, nuanced approaches to policymaking in this critical area. The controversy highlighted the power of media narratives and the impact they can have on public perception. The way in which the story was covered, or in some cases not covered, shaped the way in which people understood the issue and formed opinions about the individuals involved. It also underscored the challenges of combating misinformation and disinformation in the digital age. Algorithms designed to show users content they are likely to engage with can create echo chambers where people are only exposed to information that confirms their existing biases. This can make it challenging to have nuanced and informed discussions about complex issues like criminal justice reform. The controversy surrounding Harris, Walz, and the MFF is unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. It is a symptom of the deep political divisions that exist in American society and the challenges of having productive conversations across ideological lines. It also highlights the need for greater media literacy and critical thinking skills among the public. As the 2024 election cycle heats up, it is likely that we will see more instances of accusations of media bias and attempts to manipulate information for political gain. It is imperative that citizens approach these issues with a healthy dose of skepticism and seek out information from a variety of sources.